This short video will guide you on how to read your Better Buying Partnership Index company report. Before we dive into the report, let's take a quick look at the scoring. The survey consists of a series of questions that rate your partnership with your suppliers. The survey is subjective, so it's the supplier's opinion of the customer relationship. For example, does the buyer give suppliers the necessary visibility to plan their business operations? Do they get enough time for all processes? Are the buyer's financial practices fair? Supplier responses to each question range from all of the time through often to sometimes, rarely and never. From this, we calculate the percent of supplier responses that fall into three categories of partnership quality: true partners, collaborators and detractors. Responses of all of the time to each statement mean the supplier sees the buyer as a true partner. According to Better Buying's definition, true partners work with their suppliers to achieve shared objectives. They seek input from suppliers and collaborate closely with them. Their use of time and resources is efficient and non-duplicative, and the relationship is fair. These buyers share risk and have a long-term focus. Responses of often belong to the collaborators category. Collaborators frequently strive for better communications, more collaboration, and more transparency in their supplier partnerships, but they don't always get there. At the bottom end of the scale, responses of sometimes, rarely, or never to each question are used to calculate the detractors percentage. By our definition, detractors show a lack of respect for their suppliers and work against them rather than with them. They limit the amount of information that they share and focus on their own objectives and margins. This prevents suppliers from running a sustainable, profitable business. We use traffic light bars throughout your company report to show these categories at a glance. The ideal is to be a true partner on each measure and with each supplier, which would be reflected by a solid green bar. Orange represents collaborators and red indicates detractors, which is the lowest score. When you open your company report, the first thing you'll see at the top of the first sheet is an overview of your performance, how it compares with the industry benchmark, and if you took part in last year's survey, you'll also see a comparison with the score of your last cycle. The N number in the middle represents the number of suppliers who submitted ratings. In this case, 435 ratings make up the industry benchmark. This is the soft goods benchmark, which represents the average of all submitted textile-related ratings, such as apparel, footwear, and household textiles. You can also see that your company received 56 ratings. Let's take a closer look. We use a speedometer graphic to show your overall BBPI score. A simple way of looking at it is the higher the number of true partner ratings, the better your partnership score. This company scored 14 out of a potential range from -100 to +100. A score of 100 means all of your suppliers responded all of the time to every question, whereas a score of -100 means all your suppliers responded sometimes, rarely, or never to every question. A score of 0 means you received an equal number of true partner and detractor ratings. More detail about the scoring is available on the Better Buying website. If you look at the traffic light bar on the right, you'll see how your company compares to overall industry performance in the soft goods benchmark, which is shown in the grey chart. The traffic light bar below this shows that this company was rated as a true partner by 41% of its suppliers, the green box on the right, which is better than the industry average of 34%. At the other end of the scale, 26% of this company's suppliers rated it a detractor in the red box on the left, which again is better than the industry average of 28%, because the lower the detractor rating, the better. The 3 small coloured circles give a bit more information about your overall BBPI score. Your company's score this year, number 14 in the green circle, is worse than last year, 24 in the pale orange circle, and is also worse than the industry benchmark, 50 in the grey circle. As you move into the report and look at responses to each question, you'll see the detail behind your overall BBPI score. This provides a fuller picture on how your company is performing on each of the partnership questions compared to the industry benchmark. And you'll see whether your supplier's responses to each question position you as a true partner, a collaborator, or a detractor in every area. You can also see how your performance compares with the industry benchmark, which again is the grey bar above each traffic light bar. This enables you to see the areas where you're doing well and the areas where you need to improve. This company appears to be doing well in terms of reducing duplicative audit requirements, with 44.6% of its suppliers rating it as a true partner in this category, which is an increase of 4.6% on the previous year. But almost as many suppliers, 39.3%, say it belongs to the collaborators category, which means it only frequently reduces duplicative audit requirements, and the remaining 16.1% say it rarely or never does this. The company has also seen a big jump in the number of suppliers who say its business dealings are free of corruption and bribery, but in other areas it's declined. Look at the double-digit declines compared with the previous year in the first 6 areas. There's still a lot of work to do. If you also subscribe to the Better Buying Purchasing Practices Index, the BBPI can help put the BBPI findings into context. The deep dive Better Buying Purchasing Practices Index shows where you are on a particular measure, while the BBPI helps you to understand how you're progressing towards the end goal. So, for example, you might have scored marginally on providing forecasts 60 days in advance in the Better Buying Purchasing Practices Index, but if the Partnership Index shows your suppliers say they have enough visibility to plan production, this suggests it's not something to worry about. This is really important because companies with different business models and different product categories have different requirements of where they need to be with their suppliers. The Better Buying Partnership Index also provides guidance on progress towards the 5 principles of responsible purchasing: visibility, stability, time, financials, and shared responsibility. Your Better Buying Partnership Index report also provides other useful information about your suppliers who took part in the survey, such as the business type of suppliers that participated and which type participated most, how suppliers are receiving orders, a breakdown of participating suppliers' size based on gross revenue, and response rates per region. In order to get the most insight from your supplier ratings, you can request breakouts when you subscribe to the ratings cycle. You might want to compare supplier responses by region to see any differences or issues that are a problem in one particular area. You might also want to consider breakouts by supplier type, such as strategic and non-strategic suppliers, or by different product categories or brands. We've found that the breakouts are often valuable for understanding where to start working on lower scoring areas. You can also request separate reports for different teams or business units so they don't see each other's results. This table compares responses received from suppliers in different regions on each of the questions. If you look at the first row, you'll see very different responses from suppliers in East Asia, the column in the middle, versus those in Southeast Asia on the right. 58.3% of those in Southeast Asia say they get enough visibility to plan their operations, compared with just 16.7% in East Asia. The company can use this information as the basis for a more detailed investigation into what's going on and how to improve. If your suppliers have left any comments or feedback, these are included on a separate page in your company report. These may indicate supply chain risks, provide suggestions on how you can improve your practices, and highlight any best practices. These comments help to provide a holistic understanding of your partnership behaviour with your suppliers. So what are the next steps? We always recommend that you share the findings in your Better Buying Partnership Index company report with your internal teams and departments in order to identify where you should make efforts to improve, identify areas where you're doing well, particularly improvements made year over year. It's also a good idea to share the results with your suppliers so they can see you're assessing their feedback and making changes. If you've not already done so, another next step is to subscribe to the Better Buying Purchasing Practices Index so you can explore the impact of your purchasing practices in more detail. This detailed questionnaire can point to the precise practices that need improvement and track improvements as they're made over time. And you can sign up for our e-learning on the 5 principles of responsible purchasing to ensure that all teams and departments have a deeper understanding of the impact of their decisions and start to think about new ways of working. We hope this has given you a greater understanding of your Partnership Index company report. You can also find more resources under Research and Tools on the Better Buying website. This includes a copy of the questionnaire and a guide to the Better Buying Partnership Index, which includes more information on the scoring methodology. And of course, if you've any further questions or would like to find out more about subscribing to the Better Buying Purchasing Practices Index in April or taking part in our e-learning, please get in touch.